How you doing, family? This is Ronnie, aka Lawnmower Man, coming to you live via Recovery Centers of Maryland. My story is not the typical story of just like, the average Joe, so to speak. Started out 6 years old. My mother was married to an alcoholic who was an abuser. He used to beat her up, hit her like she was a man, closed fists. The sad thing about that story is the fact that I look just like him. You would think that he literally spit me out of his mouth and some. But when the smoke would clear and my father would roll out, my mother would take it out on me. She would tell me how much I looked like him, how much I would be like him, how no good I was, I'd end up in jail, etc., etc. Now, my other siblings did not really get along with me. I was the misfit. I was equivalent to the black sheep of the family. Nobody wanted to be around me. So I was a loner. Then comes the introduction of drugs. You see the commercials back in the day, this is your brain on drugs, and they show the egg being cooked on the ground, fried, etc., etc. Me being inquisitive, curious about how this drug would be, I was already fucked up in the head, in a sense of not knowing who I was. I had an identity crisis. Didn't love myself. I have all these primitive complexes and whatnot. Something was wrong with me. My ears stuck out, as you can see. Big head, Charlie Brown, Planet Rock. I was ridiculed. I was mocked. I was just fucked up as a kid. And mind you, parental guidance is suggested because I'm saying some graphic, real things, I was always told that I was unattractive, and I started to believe the lie. Girls used to always take advantage of me, use me. Back in the day, that's when a sterling silver 925 was out, and I had each and every symbol that goes with the necklaces and whatnot. And me being green as the grass you see right there, I believed the lie. They used to lie to me and say how cute I was and this and that, just in order to have my chains, my little necklaces and whatnot. To make a long story short, that's when I graduated to the introductions of drugs. The first thing it was, basically, let me see, it was smoking cigarettes. Then came the drinking. Me wanting to fit in and be like my buddies and wanted to be cool, so to speak. I started doing that. Then the marijuana. And then, last but not least, trust me when I say that, came Miss Shirley, a.k.a. cocaine, a.k.a. crack. And at that time, I thought that was the best thing since baked bread, because of that feeling, that euphoric feeling of it'll make you feel good. I believed that lie. So that metamorphosis, that transition occurred in my life, and I fell head over heels madly in love with crack. It was the beginning to the end of a very, very, very destructive life for me. I went from Popeye without the spinach to Superman without the kryptonite, or with the kryptonite, so to speak. I was just a fucked up case. Drugs destroyed my life. And the last run, oh my God, let me tell you, it was something as not being a pretty picture. In no sense of the word was it a pretty picture. What I mean by that is, okay, buddy, is the fact that it destroyed me. Crack was the only thing that I lived for. and I was willing to die for. Sad but true. Every day you would think it was my occupation. I would do all kinds of meaningless jobs just in order to make the money to sustain getting that drug. God knows that it was a grueling, ugly, demented, crazy, stupid process. The things in which that drug would have you think and believe. And I believed that big lie. That's all I needed was the drug. My last run was a run of total devastation, which led to destruction. It was bad enough that I was on crack, but when I was introduced to heroin, dope, oh my God. Wasn't a pretty picture. Wasn't a pretty picture at all. I didn't realize that inadvertently that I would get a little young drug habit and to experience that sickness, that heavy feeling of not being able to move, to function. It had me in this debilitating state of mind and condition. I could not move, literally. I was so weak. I couldn't do anything, man. Being dope sick is not a joke. I used to see people, dope heads and dope fiends and whatnot, who were sick and who would be in that nod. And I would say to myself, I would never, ever, ever, ever do anything to be so destructive and to look so embarrassing, to be in that state and condition. No, never, not me. Just like the old adage say, never say never. My nevers became a reality. It truly did. Because I caught that dope habit. And it resulted in me, damn near dying. I don't know how many times I OD'd and whatnot. And I thank God, to whomever God is today, that I'm able to tell this story. True life story, that is. Whomever you are looking, watching this video, especially the newcomer, the little hoppers, the youngins, please do not, and I repeat, do not make the attempt of picking that drug up. Crack, dope, or whatever. Don't do it, man, because you will be enslaved for life. It would have you do things, man, Ripley's wouldn't believe. Really. Man, just try your best to find yourself a God, an outlet, man. Someone or something that's bigger than you. Trust me, man, this is not a joke. It's not. It'll have you rob your mother, hit an old man in the head, steal his wallet. It'll have you doing things, man, that you couldn't imagine ever, ever, ever doing. It's not a joke. I feel like crying, man. I really, really, really do, but the tears won't fall, And I don't want it to appear as if they're crocodile tears. But I'm hurting inside, man. The last run, man, was, again, it was grueling. It was ugly. It was not a pretty picture at all. Here it is, some dude I didn't even know. We get high, and at the time, I wanted some dope. I wanted that balance. I already had some coke, as in AKA crack, but I needed some dope. So we hook up and everything, bop, bop, bop. I treat him, bop, bop, bop. And it ended up, we treating each other, The dope was so powerful. And nowadays, here in Baltimore, Maryland, that's where I'm from, they had the fentanyl. And they put fentanyl in everything. Weed, the crack, the dope, especially the dope. That's what they specialize as in putting fentanyl in. But when the smoke cleared and everything, I ended up falling into a deep nod. And it resulted in me being robbed. Physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, I was robbed. But the physical aspect of me being robbed was just that, literally. When I went out, they went in, as in my pockets, in my wallet. and took everything. Took me for my cell phone, took me for the money in which I had in my wallet, and at the time did not belong to me because I was doing stupid things like trying my best to fit in, to get into where as though I can fit in, as in to sustain my addiction. And in the process of me sustaining my addiction was me working for drug dealers and whatnot. And the money that was stolen from me was the drug dealer's money. So you can just imagine how the rest of the story go. I don't like looking over my shoulder, so to speak, knowing that I owe somebody. That's not a good feeling, especially when you smoke crack cocaine, because it has a tendency of messing with your central nervous system. They call it a geek, to where as though it's the reaction of how that drug affected you. And my geek at the time was I couldn't talk. You think the cat literally had my tongue. I'd be something like, and it's not a pretty picture, as you can see. But, or I'll look up in the sky, part of the geek thing. I say what I'm saying to you for a reason, man. Really, it's nothing but a 3-minute high. That euphoric feeling of nirvana, this ecstasy. You feel like you're in paradise, It's a good feeling, but it's a feeling that basically would lead you to your destruction. It would lead you to your demise. Don't believe the lie. I'm Ronnie W., part of the Three Amigos, signing off. With that, stay clean, stay beautiful, and stay blessed.